lights low, camera on me, wave crash in the background. Welcome to the story, stay wavy with the jab TV, with the hook, every round, heavy now. Better take a good look, ring bell, gloves up, hear the bass get loud. We make camera shake.
Terence Butt Crawford absolutely crashed out on everybody yesterday on Twitter. The man woke up and chose violence, okay? I don't know who pissed Terence Butt Crawford off. Maybe he had a bad argument with his baby mom, who he has like 10 kids with. But Terence Butt Crawford yesterday, bruh, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed and went on Twitter and just absolutely was just firing off, 12 rounds of bullets, you know what I'm saying? So let's get into it, right? So he starts off the crash out by saying, I find it crazy how people run with this Crawford don't sell bullshit. Any fighter I ever fought besides Khan, when he fought Canelo, I was their biggest fight. But I can't sell though. But none of these fighters could do what they did with me with other fighters though, so I must be lost. That's cap, okay? Terence Crawford, you didn't do better than when Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather. And the only reason why you did is because you guys fought on Netflix, which is a subscription. You know what I'm saying? Most people already have Netflix. Netflix is the biggest streaming platform in the world. So that's why you could probably say that fight had more viewers than when Canelo fought Floyd. But if we're talking about pay-per-views, right? Canelo did not have a bigger fight with you than he did with Floyd, okay? And let's take things into context, right? Errol the True Spence Jr., before you fought him, Errol Spence was already selling pay-per-views, okay? When you look at Terence Crawford's fights before he fought Errol Spence, right? Most of your fights were for free on ESPN, my nigga. You were signed to Top Rank. And listen, I like Terence Crawford, okay? He did beat one of my favorite fighters, Errol Spence, but after he beat Canelo, I put all that to the past, right? But Terence, bro, you got to stop capping, bro. You got to look at things in context. Errol the True Spence Jr. sold out the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, brother. I think he fought, who did he fight, y'all? I think he fought, it was either Sean Porter or Mikey Garcia that he fought at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I believe he sold it out. Terence Crawford, you couldn't do that fighting somebody like a Sean Porter or a Mikey Garcia. You couldn't do that, brother. So let's take things into context, you feel me? So he goes on to say, I just love putting that out there because they don't talk about that, but they run with the narrative I can't sell. If I can't sell, why so many people come and tune into the fight? I get it. I don't act like the rest of them. He goes on to say this time, now he starts taking shots at Manny Pacquiao for ducking him, right? So he says, I tried to fight Manny Pacquiao way back in 2015, and they hit him for me, so I didn't get too big too soon because they wanted to keep milking him because he was the cash cow. Now, that's a fact, okay? At the time, Manny Pacquiao, I believe, was signed to Top Rank, and Bob Arum verbally said that he doesn't want Manny Pacquiao to fight Terence Crawford because he doesn't want to see Manny Pacquiao get hurt. So whoever Manny Pacquiao was signed to at the time, Bob Arum was pretty much advising Manny Pacquiao to not fight Terence Butt Crawford. And Manny Pacquiao took his advice, right? That fight ended up not happening. So I do agree when Terence Crawford says that Manny Pacquiao, I'm not going to say Manny Pacquiao specifically was ducking Terence Butt Crawford, but Manny Pacquiao's team and whoever was his promoter at the time, they 100% advised Manny Pacquiao to not take a fight with Terence Butt Crawford because it was too dangerous, okay? So next tweet, he says, it's a reason I never had a close fight or a fight where people had to say a ref or judges. No drug allegations helped me win. No controversy over here at all. Just hard work from the mud. Once again, that's cap, brother. Your fight with Israel Majimov was very controversial. I think 50% of boxing fans think that you lost, and I think another 50% of boxing fans think that you won, right? And then you got another group of fans that, even though they think you won, they feel like you didn't look the same. You didn't look as dominant, right? You didn't stop Buddy. You didn't dominate Buddy, right? You got hit a lot in that fight. So, listen, man, like, one thing I learned about professional athletes, bro, is they hate being criticized, bro. And I think Terence Butt Crawford, I think his issue is, bro, he just can't take criticism, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because he was always the underdog and people always underestimated him and kind of undervalued him. Like, you know, you kind of taking it out on the wrong people, bro. Like, to the point where you're saying things that's not true. You understand what I'm saying? So he goes on to say, these motherfuckers be in your face when they see you, but be hating because you're doing something they couldn't do. I'd be happy for the generation after me to do big things, but it's a lot of fighters that came before me that be hating on the younger fighters. That's a fact. That is an actual fact, right? Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, okay? They've definitely been known to hate on the younger fighters. That's an absolute fact. Goes on to say, it's one thing to say, oh, Crawford can't beat this guy, he's going to get knocked out. I've been hearing that my whole life, and for some reason, when it be the other way around, they come up with a book of excuses. That's a fact. I 100% agree with Terence Crawford when he says that. I respect Manny. Don't get it twisted. But he's been knocked out more than once. If you know boxing, then you know he would have had to take a lot of chances with me. I'm definitely not the one to chance with. If you know what you're watching, just ask his coach. It's the reason they stayed away from me so long till they couldn't anymore. I've been a problem since day one and they knew it. I'm the one they told y'all to stay away from. That is true, man. That is true. Like, it took so long to get the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight because Errol Spence didn't want that smoke. Remember, Errol Spence kept talking about, oh, he's on the wrong side of the street. That's when basically, like, the PBC fighters was only fighting other PBC fighters at the time. And they pretty much said because Terence Crawford was signed to Top Rank that they weren't going to make that fight happen until he fought everybody he wanted to fight that was already on PBC. So that definitely was some duck talk from Errol Spence. And I wish we would have got that fight a lot sooner than we ended up getting it. Because remember, even before Errol Spence finally, you know, negotiated with Terence Crawford and gave him some of the things that he wanted in negotiations, Al Heyman wanted Errol Spence to fight Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? So he's not lying when he says that, man. A lot of fighters definitely was staying away from Terence Crawford. How many times Canelo fight in a stadium again? How many people attend with other fighters again? If he sells out shit on his own, why couldn't he do it with anyone else before me? There goes the delusion again, bro. Bro, Canelo fought in 2 stadiums. Shout out to Ness from the Boxing Voice, bro. Ness said this. He responded to Bud. This is what Ness said, man. He said facts. He said, you do know Canelo fought in 2. He said, you do know Canelo fought in 2 stadiums. His attendance when Billy Joe was more than his fight with you, almost 74,000 people. With Liam Smith, almost 52,000 people. Come on, Bud, tighten up. So Terence Crawford responds to Ness and says, shut your bitch ass up. You always hating, you hoe ass pussy. Our fight was bigger, like I said. See, Terence Crawford, why you gotta disrespect people and call them out their name, bruh? See, when somebody responds to you and they give you facts because you're on Twitter crying like a little girl being delusional, now you want to call people all types of names, bruh. Terence Crawford, the fact of the matter is this, bro. You're not that popular, brother. Before you fought Canelo, bro, before you fought Canelo and Errol Spence, bro, people didn't know who you were. That's a fact. Even right now, Terence Crawford, you can't sell more than Canelo. If Canelo decides to have a rematch with Jaime Munguia, or if Canelo decides to fight Chris Eubank Jr. in the UK, or if Canelo decides to fight Hamza Shiraz and the fight is on pay-per-view, right? It's going to sell more than whoever you fight next. If you fight the winner of the Lara fight this weekend, or if you fight Jerron Boots Ennis or Teofimo Lopez, it is not going to sell more pay-per-views than any of Canelo's fights. That's a fact. That's just what it is, bro. Like, you're not a pay-per-view star. And Terence Crawford crashing out like this, it makes me realize that Terence Crawford obviously has a bunch of yes men around him. Terence Crawford is the kind of guy that you can't be honest with and tell the truth with, because if you do, he'll probably fire you, cut you off, or curse you out, or try to put hands on you. This dude is being delusional. So he goes on to say, now I was on steroids, saying that to a person that doesn't even like taking Tylenol or multivitamins. Motherfucker could check me any time of the year, won't find anything in my system but water, pop, and candy. It's so crazy to say y'all never got to see me at my full potential because nobody brung it out of me because I was knocking them out. Only thing them guys before me had over me was more known opponents. That's why y'all think they was so great. But if I was in their era, the same thing I'm doing now, I'll be doing then. I be paying homage to the ones before me, but Mayweather the only one I would have had problems with because of his mind. And I'm done talking about it. Go argue with your mama. All right. Hey, shout out to Terence Crawford for, giving credit to Floyd Mayweather. So he's basically saying that the only person that had a chance of beating him in any era before him is Floyd Money Mayweather. So at least he's giving credit to Floyd, man. But Terence Crawford, bro, you need to get a therapist, bro. You need to take anger management classes, brother. I think you should retire and calm down, bro. Like, you just beat Canelo Alvarez, bro. Like, you just beat the face of boxing, and you just seem so angry and bitter. Like, Terence Crawford, if you really want to shut the haters up, then why don't you fight Jerron Boots Ennis, bro? Why don't you move back down to 154? Fight Boots, because that's the fight that everybody want to see. Because the same thing that you're complaining about, the same thing that you said Manny Pacquiao did to you and Errol Spence did to you, you're doing the same exact thing to Jerron Boots Ennis. You got a dude that's on the come up, right? In his late 20s, in his prime, that can't get the fights that he wants to get, right? The only person that Jerron Boots Ennis had the chance to fight was Virgil Ortiz, and he ducked him, right? We're going to get that fight next year, right? But other than that, when you were still at 147, Boots was calling you out. You didn't want that smoke. Boots was calling out Errol Spence. Errol Spence didn't want that smoke. Boots was calling out Keith one-time Thurman. Keith Thurman didn't want that smoke. So he had to move up to 154. And why not give him the opportunity? Why not give him the opportunity that you feel like other people wasn't given to you? And, if you win or lose or draw, you retire. This is what I don't like, bro. I hate hypocrites, bro. I hate people that complain about things, and then when it's their opportunity to not do the same thing that people did to them, they do the same thing people did to them. You understand what I'm saying? So that's my thoughts on this, man. I think Terence Crawford is going to retire, but the way that he's talking, the way that he's crashing out on Twitter, especially since Janet Beck tested positive for PEDs, and, we're no longer going to get a unification match between Laura and Janet Beck. I'm expecting Terence Crawford to retire. I heard Terence Crawford is asking for $100 million to fight Canelo, and I don't think he's going to get that much money, bro. He's just not worth it, bro. Like, respectfully, bro, like, Terence Crawford doesn't sell enough tickets to ask for $100 million. You're not Canelo, bro. And I think that's why he's so mad, bro. I think this is why I think Terence Crawford is really crashing out. I think behind the scenes, Turkey Al-Sheikh is trying to make this rematch with Canelo, right? And I think Terence Crawford is basically telling Turkey Al-Sheikh, look, either y'all give me $100 million or I'm going to retire. And I think there's a lot of pushback going on. I think that there's a lot of hesitation to give Terence Crawford that much money because his pay-per-view history, right, doesn't prove that he's worth that much money. Even after beating Canelo Alvarez. Like, let's be honest. Like, if we're talking about who brings eyes to the sport, Canelo Alvarez is still the face of boxing. If we're talking about who brings eyes to the sport, and y'all gonna kill me for this in the comments, but I don't give a fuck. Jake Paul would probably be the second face of boxing. If we're talking about who brings eyes to the sport, Gervonta Tank Davis would be the third face of boxing. Everybody else, bro, they not selling nothing, bro. Let's just call it what it is. Number 4 would probably have to be Queen Ryan Garcia. Even though I don't like him, he still brings a lot of eyes to the sport. That's reality, bro. That's the reality of the situation. I just gave y'all 4 boxers that bring more eyes to the sport than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is probably number 5 on that list, bro. As a matter of fact, probably number 6. I probably would say Anthony Joshua is number 5 after Ryan Garcia. Terence Crawford ain't even top 5, bro, when it comes to bringing eyes to the sport. Let's be honest with this shit, bro. Now, is he the number 1 pound-for-pound boxer in the world? Yes. But that doesn't mean that you're the face of boxing. That doesn't mean you're the face of boxing, bro. And the reality of the situation is, the reason why Terence Crawford is not that popular is because he's just not an interesting person. The reason why Floyd Mayweather was so big is because he talked a lot of shit. Mike Tyson, scary dude, talked a lot of shit. It's not just about what you do in the ring. It's about, can you sell a fight? Can you promote a fight? Can you get people interested in you? Terence Crawford has been unable to do that in his career. So with that being said, man, it's your boy Wavy, StayWavyTV. Make sure y'all subscribe, thumbs up the video. Let me know what y'all think about this topic. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.
Yeah, lights on the pavement, gleam, waving the lens so clean. City in the back while I chase big dreams, frequency high, that's a stay wavy thing. Ride with the vibe, let it roll like the tide, new scene every time that the beat collides, happening.